Over the past 50 years, the conversation about lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer individuals in the United States has shifted from resilience in the face of intolerance to pride in a culture of acceptance. June is LGBTQ Pride Month in the United States. It is a time when Americans commemorate the 1969 Stonewall Uprising, an event that sparked the modern LGBTQ rights movement and highlights LGBTQ rights as human rights. On June 28, 1969, patrons of the Stonewall Inn who were tired of constant harassment and abuse from police in New York City finally fought back. While accounts of the night vary, the uprising ignited a national firestorm and inspired widespread activism in support of LGBTQ rights. After more than 4 decades of fighting for equal rights, the movement reached a milestone in 2015 when the United States Supreme Court recognized the rights of same-sex couples to marry. Today, Pride Month is celebrated by millions around the world, with parades, lectures, parties, workshops, and concerts. It is also a time to honor those LGBTQ individuals who have been lost to crimes motivated by bigotry, and advocate for those in the over 70 countries who are still persecuted for who they are, some with the threat of execution. While Pride events occur year-round, Pride Month is an opportunity to celebrate the LGBTQ people who have changed the course of history, to promote visibility of LGBTQ individuals in the fabric of society, and to continue the dialogue about LGBTQ rights as human rights and the struggle for equal rights that continues around the world today.
CHS community family. I want to thank you all for tuning in and watching this very important video that we're doing for you all. As you're watching, I just want you all to really listen and try to comprehend what everybody is saying. Try to get the best understanding of why we're doing this and the information that is being said. In this webinar, we're going to try to cover some topics that we really feel like the CHS community can really learn from. As we're going on and people start answering, you start to hear them introduce themselves, but you might know them. They're all students and faculty that work at CHS. So with that being said, I want to hop into our first question. And that question is, what does Pride Month mean to you? And why is Pride Month important? Sorry. And whoever wants to answer that can go ahead.
I'll answer. To me, Pride Month is a time of recognition for members of LGBTQ+ and their allies. It's a time where we take a step back from looking at, heteronormative thinking, and we look at history of our rights and our struggles.
I think for a lot of people, there is a special kind of pride and joy in being able to share who you are, especially if you know there's times when you haven't been able to. So I think that's true for a lot of groups, and during Pride Week, it's true for folks who are gay and lesbian, who are bi, who are trans, or who are just somewhere outside of the spectrum of people's expectations a lot of times in terms of their gender and sexuality. Sometimes people ask, like, why is there Pride Week around a piece of your identity? But I think that's a piece of it. Being able to share after not being able to share or feeling like you were restricted in some way can be a really happy thing.
I think Pride Month is really important because you really get to show who you are and to just be free, no worries, and showing, I love it because I really get to show my support, which I show all year long. But most importantly, my nephew, I love him so much. And I love to go with him to all the Pride activities and things during Pride Month. And it just feels really, really good to me for him to see that I love him so much. I'm about to start crying. I just feel that, that month is just so important because they've had it so hard. You've had to hide it for so long. And, just Black trans people have been murdered and killed, and and it's just been ignored for years, and people don't care to even think about it. So I just think it's just something that people need to start looking at and caring more about the community itself in general. Just, sorry.
One thing Jason mentioned in talking about questions was sharing stories could be good. And just reminding me of how nice it is to be able to share pieces of who you are as a teacher, because it's a job where you are like, I'm Alan Robinson, by the way. I teach government and criminal law. There's my intro. And I sponsor the Model UN and coach the Quiz Bowl team. So my first year teaching back in 2006, I was thinking like, I'm at a school, I was at a different school than Tandem, but also a school full of folks who are open and welcoming. But I was like, how do I share who I am? And part of that is like, I date fellas. But how does that become like a natural piece of conversation? We were talking about government as we do. And I mentioned like, oh yeah, Massachusetts right now allows gay marriage, but right now it's the only state I have to go all the way up there to get married. And then one of my students, I remember who it was, Ben, said, I'll be your best man. And someone else said, I'll be the ring bearer. And then everyone was shouting out what they were going to do for this hypothetical wedding that hasn't happened yet. And it was a warm feeling, a feeling of being recognized, of being included, of being just able to share who you are. And I think that's true for a lot of people in a lot of different ways, being seen and being welcomed. And that's a part of it too.
Thank you for you guys' vulnerability on that question. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this, to show that vulnerability, especially in our staff. So going on into the next question, what are some ways you feel Pride Month could be celebrated in our school, and what would you like to see it celebrated like?
My name's Pierce. I use any pronouns. And I think that there could just be more taught about the history of it in our country, to be honest. And how to correct yourself if you say something wrong, which I know we're going to talk about later.
Ari, and I go by they, them pronouns. I would like to see more spaces dedicated to people like me. Today I had an issue of where to go to the bathroom, which there is technically a gender neutral bathroom, but it's not always accessible. And I would also like to see teachers who would offer a space to talk about our experiences, or maybe a club.
I think there needs to be more education on pronouns and just education in general about the community and the struggles that they've gone through, because it's really important. They've had it really hard and still have it hard. So I think just it needs to be included in history class. So even if they have, even a week, a month of, of lessons on that would be great, just so students can understand the struggle, because it's hard. It's been hard.
I remember some counselors saying they've also, in addition to the main club PRISM, sometimes had kind of smaller conversation groups for students who wanted to talk things through. But what that means, because this year the visibility wasn't there, is that we as a school are going to have to step up and make sure that not only do those things exist, but that they're welcoming places where people know where they can go. One thing our school's done in the past has been safe space training, where someone from the resource center at UVA comes and trains staff. One year I requested it because I had students talk to me about experiences they've gone through that they should never have had to go through. And so getting training for faculty, and not only how to be a quiet ally, but someone who is vocal and can change the environment in the school and provide a place just for conversation and a safe place to be. All those things are good.
Well, the next question is, and I know this been we've been talking about it a little bit while we've been talking, pronouns. Why are pronouns so important? And if you do see somebody use a pronoun wrong or call somebody by the wrong pronoun, what do you think is the best way for them to make up for that mistake?
So I think that all you have to do is like just correct them, you know, like right pronoun, and then all they have to do is say thank you and then correct the sentence and like move on. And like that just goes for like every time and then until it's like habit, you know. And personally I think that like pronouns mean like something different to everyone else. I mean to like each different person. But they don't really mean very much to me. I don't think gender is real. Like we made it up with the concept, you know. And so I don't care for me, but I know that other people have like, you know, a lot of identity in it. So
Yeah, and sometimes I feel that those who do use pronouns, or those who use they, them, or no pronouns at all, or any pronouns, sometimes when people are called by the incorrect pronoun, and if someone gets offended, sometimes we don't know. So please do correct us if we call you by the incorrect pronoun. Make sure you let us know, because we may not have ever known that we got the incorrect pronoun. Or if someone calls you by your dead name, we need to know so we can make a correction, especially if let your counselor know so we can make the correction in Power School, because we put a different name in for you, so we can make those adjustments. So you need to let your counselor know to make a correction in Power School so that teachers know what the correct name is to call you. But those things are really important, and we understand that's important to you.
Pronouns themselves are just a particle of speech, but it is a matter of respect and respecting people's pronouns if they ask you to use a different set. And it takes a lot of courage for someone to correct another person about their identity. And if you've heard that one time, I think it is important to just stick a flag in your head as a reminder to not do it again. It's okay, everybody makes mistakes, but it is a matter of respect.
I think it's also just really important to ask whenever you meet someone. Like that's like what you should do first. Like you can't really assume by how anyone looks. So you just like the first thing you need to do is ask, and then you know after that, and if you like mess up once again, like just like correct yourself and then you know move on.
Next question I'll add in here is there anything that us as a school community can do to make you feel more supported or comfortable, or do you already feel that support and comfort in CHS?
I would feel more comfortable if we as a community made an effort to correct people or refute hate speech every time we hear it, because a lot of times teachers specifically get bogged down by everyone has the right to their own opinions. I can't express my political ideals to my students, but I don't think that it's respectful to the other students if someone is making remarks that are inappropriate and unkind. So I would really appreciate it if teachers and peers would correct people when they hear them saying something.
That's really well said. I've talked to teachers who, even if well-meaning, have sort of shut themselves off from encouraging basic kindness and decency because they think that's somehow inappropriate. And I hope that we are in the process of reconsidering what our job is. and what it means to let someone feel like they are, for who they are, told they don't belong, or or made to feel less, that's just a basic, like, fundamental piece of human decency, rather than an inappropriate political opinion to say, no, that's not how we speak about other people.
Very well said. And I'll continue on with the next question, which is, what would you like the CHS community to know about the LGBTQ community that you think they might not know or might overlook?
I think that it's very overlooked that people of color are just as gay, like the prevalency. And I don't think that enough people recognize that. They might not just feel comfortable with expressing themselves to the public, but it's important that we keep in our minds that anyone could be, and it's not a choice. It's just the way that you are.
Everyone is queer in a different way, and you can't like assume anything about anyone that you meet, to be honest.
There's some deliberate ways that teachers, while being humans and while being teachers, can talk about things like gender and sexuality that don't box people in. Because one thing I think it's good for people to be aware of, and people probably know in the back of their head but can forget, is that there's folks who are in a place where they're comfortable, like, being visibly queer, talking about how their gender and sexuality and what it is. And there's people who are in a different place in that journey, and making a place for that to be not a default assumption that they aren't, can, I think, be a welcoming way to make a path for people when they're ready to be more visible.
As Ari said, there is such a stigma in the Black community with homosexuality and just the whole LGBTQ plus community, that it is difficult for them to come out and be free and be themselves. So I think that it is a big issue. It's very hard, and so when some of them, it takes literal years, not till they're adults. Sometimes they wait till parents are gone, and sometimes they never do, and you never know why so and so never had kids. So and it's just the community. It's just how I don't know why. It's just but you're right, Ari. There's just as many, because it's not something that is taught, as some people like to believe. It's not something that you can pick up on the side of the road one day. It's not a disease, you're born that way.
Last question that I have here, and that is, what compelled you to join this webinar, or panel, I should say, and do you think it could impact our school community in a big way?
I think if people listen to it, it could be very helpful. Yeah.
The Talmud says, if not you, then who? If not now, then when? And I think about that a lot. If I have an opportunity to share myself and ways that we can be kind to other people, I strive to take that opportunity. And I would like everyone who sees this to hear my words and to absorb them.
I know that anytime that I can stand up and tell everybody how much I love my nephew, I do. So I stand up for this community any day and every day. So I will be an ally to the day I die.
I guess one thing I think about sometimes is that sharing who you are is not a one-time thing. It's a continual process. And maybe especially in a school where, everyone's gone in 4 years. It's a new batch of people. And that as long as you're in a place where you're comfortable doing it, sharing who you are as a teacher can be a valuable thing. People know they have someone to talk to. It's just one more face and people's conception of what it means to be gay, for example, that fits into what some of you said about how everyone's experience is different. Yeah.
I'm Mr. Rod. I do tech support here, and I'm a huge advocate of LGBTQ rights and stuff, and I'm a huge advocate and ally. And for me, being a straight guy, years ago, my first kid come out to me, and it really changed my mind and my opinion on a lot of things, and it allowed me to really look at myself in a different way and decide that this is something that I need to advocate more for, because there are not a lot of kids who have that person who they feel comfortable coming out to and who they feel comfortable talking to. And so for me, when that first happened for me years ago, it really touched my heart and really made me want to advocate for this. And so this is something I've been advocating for I guess now about 6 years now. Something that's really touched my heart, and one of the reasons that me and Jason started talking about wanting to do a panel on this topic a couple of months ago. And so I just want everybody to know that I'm here for you. I hear you. I want to be that ally for you. And if you need anything, please feel free to come talk to me or any of these other people on this panel, because we're here for you, and we know what you go through, and we want to make that change and help you to feel more comfortable here at school every day.
I'll piggyback off of Mr. Rod that, I am so happy that we were able to do this. We were planning this for a while, and being able to do this, as the year is coming down to a close and being able to do it for Pride Month has just been a great joy for me. And I'll say this, like Ms. Eubanks said, I'm an ally till I die as well. I love this community with everything I have, and it hurts me how much this community has to go through. As a Black student, as a Black American, I know what it is to go through discrimination, to go through watching your own be killed because of people's opinions or what they feel is so right, and yet feels it's so wrong. And as a Black American, I feel that we have to come together as our communities. And I think if we come together and do stuff like this, where we're having panels, we're having discussions, we're educating our students, I think that we can make a big difference, not only in our community, but in other communities as well. I'm so happy I was able to facilitate this conversation. I'm going to continue to do my best to spearhead other ideas and projects, not only for Black student body, but also the LGBTQ student body and other communities that are needing of that support in our community. So again, I am just so ecstatic that we were able to do this. And I know that there's another panel member that's going to answer this question, but I just really want to leave you all with that message that, I am just so happy that we were able to do this. And I only pray to have more stuff like this in the near future next year.
Well, okay. So I agree with what everyone's been saying. I've been an ally and a supporter since all have to go through. Just we're different, people saying that God hates gays and everything, but yet we were all made from the same person. It's there's nothing different about us. We're literally just the same people. And it's I feel like we need to educate people more about it, because just because we're completely different than what straight people like, it doesn't make us any different. And it's yeah, it's I don't remember what it was called in middle school, but we normally would have a day of silence, and we would always use whiteboards and everything. So we would have a whole day of silence to show support of the discrimination and everything that the LGBTQ community has gone through and everything.
Disability or outreach isn't an option for everyone in the marginalized community. So I think it's important that the school and its students makes an effort to educate people about it, because it's not just for the people on this panel, it's for everybody.
I agree with that too, because I feel like in the world that we're in now, I don't think people really understand or like see eye to eye to what we see when it comes to the community. Like they think that we can't go by different pronouns because there's only two genders. Like I don't think they really understand that there is more to the community and the people and everything like that than they think there is. Like because obviously everyone grows up differently, so they're gonna hear different things, learn different things, but there's more to it than what people are just telling them.
Well, I want to thank you all for being a part of this panel and helping me and Mr. Rod get this done. Like I said, this is not a one-time thing. I plan on, excuse me, and I hope that a lot of other allies members plan on continuing the fight of bringing more opportunities for events like this and projects. So I thank you all for having the courage to come on this panel and speak how you feel and what you know is true. And I don't know how we're supposed to end this, but I'll just end it with thank you. And we will see you all very soon with another project.